Hello, all my crafting friends. Welcome to another Technique Tuesday. I am so glad you're here with me today. And the technique that we're going to do is this fun technique here where you use up your scrap paper and then put it through an embossing folder and you get a really neat element to your card. And so I've just loved these little turtle guys, and I had first just ordered the paper and the embossing folder, but I have since purchased the bundle to go with it because after playing with it, I really do like it a lot. So we'll get started with doing this technique. Right there. So I'm going to bring in a few of my elements here. All right, so this will go up there. We have these gorgeous shades of green hexagons, and they just coordinate well with the shell design. And I just love the different colors of those. And this is the embossing folder that I use to get that texture on that technique. So I'll put that up there. And then here is that turtly awesome stamp set, and the dies are on the inside. And it says, "Hope your birthday is turtly awesome. Here for you always." I wonder if it's because this guy's on his back. "It's okay to take it slow, and hooray, sweet friend." And then it's got all these other cute little embellishments and these cute little turtle guys. And then when you open it up, you have these dies that they cut out the turtles. There's a apron and a hat and a baker's hat. There's an ice cream cone, a watering can. This, I believe, is a balloon. That's also the piece here is for the banjo. Just all kinds of things. The birds cut out. So it's a really cute little set. And I don't know, it just makes me happy when I look at it. The paper, I have used so much of the paper already, and I keep cutting out these images because they are so cute. I like the paper on the back, but the images are so adorable. And with the ones with the music notes and things, they remind me of like singing happy birthday or different tunes like that. Here's some that have like gifts and the birthday cake and different things. So that one's a lot, for birthdays. Here's one for gardening and, things like that. So there's a lot of cute things. This here has the music notes on the back. And this one here has stripes. Those stripes get a little crazy there. So there's just all kinds of different piece of cardstock in there, different ones that you can do. Here's one with bicycles and eating your ice cream and different things, and then it's got the smaller little shell pattern on the back. So it's just an adorable DSP pack. Let's see if I missed any of them. Oh, here's one for a beach. So they've got different ones like that, and on the back it's those stripes. So it's just an adorable DSP pack. And so if you don't have, sorry, I'm making too much noise. If you don't have the bundle, then you can do a lot with this anyway. And then here's some scenery and different things to put those on, and then polka dots. I think that's all the paper that's in that set. I do have a couple of stamps here that were in that bundle. And then we are going to paper piece. We have all these different pieces of scraps. They're different sizes, different, everything. All kinds of scraps. And you can decide like whether or not you want scraps in like a particular color, or you want to add other colors in. So this is what our technique is going to be. So I'll get all those out. Anything we don't need, I'll put away. But one of the things I wanted to share with you is when you get a stamp set and the photopolymer and probably the red rubber as well, there's a film on it. And so I take just a little sanding tool of some sort. You could do a real soft nail file as well. And I just like buff it. Not real hard. I'm just trying to get that film off so that it will take the ink whenever I go to ink this up. And so now that I've done that, it should do well with picking the ink up, and you shouldn't have to ever do that again. So that's just one tip. So we're going to take, and let me see if I can find my silicone mat. I had it here, and I probably buried it somewhere. We did this card about a week or so ago, and I couldn't. There we go. I couldn't demonstrate it because I lost my voice. Here is my silicone mat. I'm going to flip it over to the back. It's got dirt on it. And so I just have a piece of white cardstock here, and it's just a scrap as well. It is 5 1/4 by 3. And so it's just a scrap piece, but I'm going to show you how I put this all together, and then we'll go from there. So I want to grab my glue. I hope that there's plenty in here. If not, I'll have to grab a new one. This one in just in case. All right, so I need to decide if I'm going to add extra colors or what. This is the image that I've already cut out and I'm going to use for the front of my card. So instead of using that one, I'm going to use this one. So I think I'm going to try to put some different colors in with this. Let's see. We'll start. I'm just going to put a strip of glue. I think I'm going to grab one of these. Start with a whiter one. Now I could start in the middle, and I see people do that all the time, and then you have to cut off both ends. You'll still have to cut off both ends, but I'm just going to go off this end just a little bit. And that way I can use that other piece somewhere else on another project or on this project. And then let's see. I'm trying to just take some of the color from my image that I'm going to use. And so let's grab one of our, let's see, that's the same color. Let's grab one of, nope, well, it's not quite long enough. Oh, here we go. Let's grab one of these. And whenever it scraps, you just have to work with it and get it to work how you need it to work. So I'm going to lay that right there. Okay. And then I think I'll throw a little bit of yellow in here. I didn't on my other one, but just tap it, and you just keep doing this. You know what? I think I'm going to toss a little bit of red in there. I don't know if I like it, but hey, gotta try it. Didn't want quite that other one wide. So I'll just put one in there. And you just keep adding glue. I'm not pressing real hard. because I don't want to squish the glue out. But then once you get some of it going, then you can press down on there. I do have a little bit of glue, but I'll take care of that here shortly. Let's see. And if you end up running out of strips that you're working with, then trim them off and start at the other end. Let's see. There's got to be a green I haven't used already. We have lots of different greens. When you get to the corner, you want to make certain that it has enough going both directions. Right. And just keep adding it on. When I get to this corner, I'll probably trim so that I can start using those someplace as well. Like I have the shortened from what I made before. Just add that. This little yellow one. I haven't had any lime in a while, so put some of that. I think that's something I didn't put, is that lemon lime twist, but I don't usually have very many things of that are left over, because I don't use that color that often. Okay, so I've made it clear to one end. So what I'm going to do is make certain that's all pressed down well. We're going to turn this over. And grab a pair of scissors. And we're going to start snipping up against that paper. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to set this up here because they sometimes can be used, but not usually because they're so small. But if you get to a corner and you just have room for like a dot of glue, you still need to cover it. So you never know, they might come in handy. Otherwise, they'll be trash at the end of the project. Just trim off. Okay, so there's where we're at, and now we just start going the other direction. That. And now that they're a little bit shorter, you have to check a little bit to make certain that it's going to fit. I guess we could put those our adhesive sheets. There we go. But once that's down, that's down. This here, we can kind of slide it up into place. Where with the adhesive sheets, once you're there, you're there. Looking pretty good. I'm not doing any particular pattern. I'm just grabbing and putting things in there and just going with that flow. But I did see I only had one of these, so I want to make certain I get that another one in there. Otherwise it'll look really random. And that's okay too. It'll probably be the last bit of red that I put in this. I think I need another really dark one. Maybe I can get it in a thin one. That's perfect length. And you just keep adding this. And just keep going. I'll go ahead and add glue to the whole end there. That limey color. And I think it's granny apple. I keep calling it lime. And then how about on this thin green? Like green. And then that last little bit right here. I wonder if this will cover it. Oh, not quite. This one will. There we go. And so here it looks a mess, but here it looks nice and neat already. All right. Except certainly we have it all there. I'm going to snip this yellow one off because there's not much holding it in place. I guess I could have grabbed from my pile. There. Make sure just there. Now then, some of those are so long that it made it heavy and I didn't want it to tear it loose. I'm just going to trim this back off. So these longer pieces I can put in my pile. The short ones I'm going to throw away. And we'll end up trimming this a little bit on the paper cutter. So doesn't that look really nice? It looked like a hot mess before, but it ends up being a really nice way to use up all your scraps. I don't know about you, but when I'm cutting different cardstocks and things, a lot of times you get like little strips and all that kind of stuff. Let me get those off of my counter. Just drop them back in this scrap bin. So that's what I do when I have this little bits and pieces. Once in a while I just throw them away, but you know, if they're super thin, a lot of times I just toss them. But when they're a little bit wider, you can always use them for backings, for sentiments and different things like that, or chop them up for confetti for one of the shaker cards, things like that. All right, so then bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Plate. I forgot to grab my thick plate. I had the gray one, but I did not have the other one. I'll set this in here. I'll try to get it back far enough you can see what I'm doing. About like that. That's all it's going to be. Okay, so I'm going to put down my plate 1, and it has all the instructions on how to make your sandwich for when you're going to do die cutting, if you're going to do embossing folder, or if you're going to do a 3D embossing folder. And let's see, I guess this is not a 3D one. So I'm going to need clear plates. I grabbed the wrong one, I suppose. I'll have them both here just in case I'm wrong on this. This is not a 3D one. I thought that it was. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to lay it in here with that Stampin' Up logo. I'm just lining up my edge down there. It doesn't matter, I don't think, because it is it's a shell pattern. So we can run this through here. Oh, we can. Sorry for shaking. Move this out of the way. And when you open this up, this is what you're left with. Isn't that just super cool? Really like that. Now then, I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. So I want this to be 1.5, I believe, by 5 1/4. So 1.5 by 5 1/4, correct. Okay, so let's look and see. It's right at 5 1/4. There we go. Then 1.5. I could trim off about 1/4 inch. I just saw, see this little piece that's sticking out here that I didn't get? I'll go ahead and pop that off because I think I'm going to use this little strip. There we go. Now we want 1.5. This one's a little bit more colorful because it's got the that red and that yellow in there. But my image has that in there. All right, so there we go. There's that. And then I can use this for another project. I have this that is just 1/4 inch larger. So this one here is, let's see. Oh, it's just 1/8 inch larger. It's 1 5/8. And then it's the same length, 5 1/4. All right, so we're going to start putting our card together. I've got a card base that's garden green, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this is Granny Apple green, and it is 1 5/8 by 5 1/4. And this here has a little corner knocked off of it. I don't know if I could put that back on or not. Well, I want to fix it. Well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's going to be on white. I don't know that it'll be noticed. All right, so let's add this to our layering piece. Probably just trim a bit more off. Well, that one is not working. So let's try this one. I think that one was clogged. It has oil in it, just doesn't want to come out. I think if I put that edge going down. It might not be noticed as much, but it's homemade, so that's fine. All right, so I'm going to take this. I want to decide about where I want to put this. And then I'm going to use my old olive, because there's old olive and mossy meadow, or mossy meadow, garden green, daffodil delight, and I think that's poppy parade. Those are the colors that are in there. This one here, I think maybe had some wild wheat, and I don't think I have any more scraps of that. Okay, so I think I'm going to do it backwards this way. Hope your birthday is totally awesome. That turned out great. All right, so I'm going to grab my ink color. I've not been using black all that much because it gets really juicy in places and not in other places. So I'm going to put this here. And we'll take some music notes, and I'm using the Secret C. Stamp those there. When you use it along with other things, it takes on the color black. Just adding the music notes, kind of like they're flowing. Yeah. All right, so maybe should have done this part before I did that stamping, but it'll be fine. I'm going to use my Petal Pink ink and my Petal Pink blending brush. I dropped on the floor. Make sure there's nothing on here. And then I'm going to just pick up some ink that I can. And so right here where I was planning on putting him, I'm going to start where it'll be covered. I'm just going to add some color just so it's not a stark white where he's going to be standing. In the middle where it's not going to be seen really, I'm just I think that'll be fine. All right, now we can start putting this together. Bring my cardstock in, and that sander that I have, I can take that and lay my paper here, because see I have all these little rough edges. I can just run it across there. And it knocks all those off so that it makes it a lot neater. Here we go. So grab my bone folder. Just like that. I'm going to glue my, close this up where I stick something in here. I'm going to grab my glue. Or clogged. I do the corners. me, they're the most important. So my card is opening this way, so I want to make sure I turn that back around and add my card front. And I'm going to add this piece down and see where the biggest part of that is. It'll be covered, no problem. I'm going to add to my corners once again. Now I am going to put in the middle of this because this is a little bit heavier with that extra paper on there. And then try to get on there straight as I can. There we go, like that. Now I want to grab some dimensionals for the top of this. I don't know if a large one will go. Yes, it will. Okay. So how I want to put this on there, I'll have him standing kind of at the bottom. So I want to go from the accordion up. I think that's what that's called, an accordion. Like that. Take those backings off. And then add glue down here at the bottom. That right in there. So that way, because this is thicker, it is popped up with the top and the bottom is just glued. That way, if I put embellishments behind here, or the dimensionals, it would make him lay down and it wouldn't look right. So there's the front. And let's see, do I have a piece I can put on the inside? Have a thing of scraps for white also. Just looking to see where I put it. I will just cut another one because I want to add that to the inside. I have all kinds of scrap pieces absolutely everywhere. And then when you need them, you can't find them. So I'm going to make this 5 1/4. By 4. I can use the rest of that for 5 pieces as well. Go in here. I just did those off my, yes. All right, so I'm going to add that to the inside. Remember, if you take the glue from the corners to the center, you make certain that your corners are going to be adhered well. If you just have it mainly in the center and you hook on one of those corners and bend it, then it kind of messes your whole project up. All right, so here's that strip that I trimmed off ahead of time to kind of make it a smoother edge. I'm just going to add that to the inside here. So it's easier to draw the line and then put the cardstock on than it is to put it on the back of the cardstock. At least for me it is. So that just brings that design from the front to the inside, and then these little cute gems. All right, so I'll take this and I'm going to use the little bit of a green one. Put it there. Get that. What colors are in this? Doesn't state, but this looks like that Granny Apple Green. That looks more like the peacock, but it's all right. Let's see. That one up there. I'll do another one that color. Right there. And then I might take one more of the small lime ones, or Granny Apple one. Put it over there. And there is the card using our technique of using up all of our strip pieces of cardstock. So here is that one. This one didn't have any red in it, and it didn't really, it had that color there, which I used the Wild Wheat for. So the color of the trumpet, I used I believe that's Wild Wheat. And then I didn't have any more of the Wild Wheat, so I traded off to use the Daffodil Delight in the place to try to pull that in. And then this Poppy Parade with that, and then the different colors and shades of green to go through there. So I think it turned out really cute. This has a lot of color and really festive. This here is just more of just the neutral colors. And this Happy Birthday, I didn't have the set yet, so I used a Happy Birthday that I already had. So there we go. There are 2 samples for the technique of using your strips of scrap cardstock to make a really cute embellishment on your card. So instead of using the DSP that I could have put on there, I used our cardstock that we had strips of, and then just add a little bit of color behind him, just kind of to ground him a little bit, and to kind of make him pop, because if it's just all on a white card base, which I didn't want to just use a lighter color card, I wanted to use the white and then just add a little bit to make him pop off the page. It turned out so cute. I just loved it. I didn't know if I'd like the red and the yellow in there, but I really do. So thank you so much for joining me for this technique, and I really hope that you found this useful and fun, and that you'll give this technique a try. So thanks again for joining me for another Technique Tuesday. And until next time, happy stamping.